So people, driver versus irons. It's difficult to excel at both. We tend to be good in one area and perhaps not so good in the other. So we're going to look at that in this video and answer some of those unanswered questions. I really believe after this video, you're going to be able to hit the ball immediately more effectively in both areas. World Class Golf Instruction. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're reaching lots of people working with evidence-based instruction. And if you'd like the video, give us a thumbs up. That helps us reach more people. Guys, all right, let's get stuck into an interesting one here. And we'll go through some really interesting clips, information. Stay to the end because we've got some great drills. Let's get started. So guys, right, let's have a look at this because this is just not shown on YouTube, right? And this is one of the main reasons why people just don't hit their driver good. They just don't get close to this position. They don't even know about it. And what we're going to look at is the shoulder tilt, the shoulder plane here at impact, and the averages of movement, right? The PGA averages of movement. And let's draw a line up here. Have a look at DeChambeau. We'll go through a couple of players here. Have a look at an amateur coming up. 33 degrees, right? Have a look at that. Now, the closer you get to the averages here, the better you hit it. There's a reason why amateurs can't get close to this position. I'm going to show you that coming up. Morikawa, 35 degrees. Now, this tilt at impact, it enables you to hit it harder, hit it from the inside, hit the ball slightly on the way up. Have a look at this shadow effect. I think that's fantastic, this video from Jason Day here. And McIlroy, 33 from McIlroy there. And in the background, Jason Day. Look at that, 33. Isn't that amazing? The numbers are the same. What are your numbers, right? When you're looking at these great players, Mark Leishman and 34, even my own swing here, just looking at that in the background at impact, getting close to impact. We'll see that the head by a lot of the great players moves slightly back a few centimeters with the driver, and the iron doesn't do that. And this helps us get the tilts. This helps us hit it harder. This helps us hit on the way up. And we'll see it, obviously with players with a lot more lag, they'll have a bit more movement backwards. But you've got to understand there's a reason why amateurs don't do this. Now, we're going to have a look at the irons. This is Sergio Garcia at 34. We're going to have a look at the irons. We've got some great drills and some information. But you've got to understand what your hands are doing here. For a lot of the amateur players that can't get this right, we're seeing them at impact, just nowhere near these positions. And so let's have a look at that. And before we have a look at some great drills with your irons, because it's a different movement, it's completely different. So stay tuned so you get a full understanding of what's happening here. Now, when we see amateurs move into this position, I'm not talking about elite amateurs, but a lot of amateur golfers, what we'll see is when they get the correct tilts at impact, they tend to leave the face open. And we're going to have a look at that, how to square up the face, and we're going to look at a couple of separation points here in your swing to clean that up and help you practice so you can launch pure high drives and get a little bit of hand and finger rotation to help you get that face really square at impact. The feel to create the correct body motion is a little tricky at times, and this is the best drill that there is for people to be able to create a sensation before they hit a shot. Okay, now what we're going to do, and we've covered this in other videos, but I keep coming back to it because it's just such a good drill, and the feedback has been fantastic from a lot of people out there. Now, once we get the stance wide enough for your driver, which promotes a longer flat spot and will help or prevent, and narrow stances with the driver is not a great place to be because the wider the stance, it acts as a bit of a wall here and it prevents the head somewhat from moving forwards. But we're going to add to it with this drill. So you pop your palms on the outside of your thighs and you're going right hand, right knee, left hand, left hip. And just get in there and then just feel that. You want to get this left shoulder up really, really high as you're closing up the gap of your legs. Okay, this is the place that we're going to get around this area here. You get the correct angles in your knees, your legs, and you get ourselves inside on touching these corridors where great players are. Now, unfortunately, what we see with a lot of players when they get into this position, they get their body in the perfect position. They start to hit it better, but they push the ball out to the right. So let's have a look at some amazing feels with our hands and fingers here to help us get not only the tilts and turns right, but to get that club face smack bang square at impact. Now get yourself, when you're doing all your drills, in a realistic address position. This is always going to help you. Now I want your arms to hang down. I want the left palm pointed towards you and the right palm pointed away. And just the first drill is just to create this rotation, just to let the arm swing. But what you're going to do is get this elbow to brush your stomach on the way through. All right, now what we're trying to do is create separation without the tricep moving the shoulder. That means from the elbow joints down. Just see if you can do this. It's a really important part. Rotating the forearms the hands, the wrist, without the tricep, without the shoulder. And this is difficult for a lot of people. This is what we're going to do. This is the first drill, right? Just to create the awareness and just to feel what you're doing. The next drill, what I want you to do is just with your left hand. Okay, this is an interesting one. And what we're going to do is pretend that we're going to point the thumb at the ball, pretend we're gripping the golf club. Now, when we come down, I want this thumb to be pointed at a right angle when the logo's under the chin. I want to rotate the thumb to the ball, and just on this outside of the lead thigh, I want you to see these fingers, and your thumb's going to be pointed at the target. Now this hand rotates quite quickly. So this is when you do it, your exercise or your movements slowly first. You get feelings and you get an understanding of what's actually happening. Hands opposite the thigh, rotating the thumb to the ball and rotating to here. And it's just on the outside actually of this lead thigh, you'll be seeing these fingers. So people, one of the critical elements here to consistent ball striking with your iron shots and your driver is simply the distance that we stand from the ball. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not getting this right. Now, what we're talking about here is the distance from the ball is the grip, or the end of the grip in relationship to the thighs in this area here. Now, to create good shaft lean, consistent shaft lean, we don't want to stand too far away from the ball with our iron shots. So we're standing about a fist width away here on average, or perhaps the size of an apple. Okay. Now with the driver, we're doubling that. Okay. So this is really, really important. If you don't get this right, a lot of people out there are going to struggle. Getting ourselves in this position makes ball striking easier. On average, when we draw a line up the back here, we're seeing around 55 degrees, mid to high irons, around average. And with the driver, we'll be seeing a little bit higher, around the 60-degree area. Very important part to notice if you want to hit consistent iron shots and consistent drives is getting your address position. So people, driver versus iron from the front view. A line down from the shoulder lands on the inside of the lead heel. McIlroy, probably the best drive of the golf ball in the world. Line down from the head will split straight through the zipper on your pants. Only around 5% of people get this right when we're looking at the difference between the driver and the iron from the front view. And a line down from the shoulder will land slightly on the inside of that trail heel. The ball is positioned left in the stance, and with this position it prevents us from hitting the ball too much on the way down and promotes a larger flat spot here. It gives us the option, if we want, to hit the ball on the way up. Don't forget, we don't have to hit the ball on the way up, and we'll have to look at that coming up. Now, for the masses of the people here, getting in the correct position here with a narrow stance, which promotes a lateral shift, more weight on the lead foot and a lowercase y, you're going to get much more compression. 60% of the weight on the lead foot, that's the PGA Tour average here. And what we do is we can measure the shaft length. Now, have a look at that number here. We got 10 degrees, 80 degrees on the screen. Can you see that? So we get into 90, that's 0. Now 10 degrees, we've already got 10 degrees here to start with. Why? Because at impact, the PGA Tour average is around 10 to 12 degrees of shaft lean. And this is what we want, and yes, we can measure that. Guys, getting yourself set up in positions like this, in a world-class stance, really makes ball striking so much easier. When we start to analyse the inner workings of great players when comparing the driver to the iron, it becomes very, very interesting. And there's no wonder why so many people out there are confused to what's going on. Let's have a look, for example, with the iron shot on the left of the screen here. On average, when looking at the PGA Tour player, from their start position into impact, their head's around 0 to 2 centimetres further forward, so it stays extremely centred. However, on the right of the screen, what we're seeing with great players, on average with their driver, is their head is moving the opposite direction, especially in the latter part of the downswing, but somewhere between 5 to 10 centimetres. This is causing more tilt in the shoulders. And for quite a few of the amateur players out there, when they're creating this tilt, and actually getting their bodies into the correct position, they have the tendency to hang the face open. So we still have, with the driver swing, 4 to 6 inches of lateral shift with that lead here moving forwards in the downswing. It's just that the head doesn't move as far forwards so that we don't hit the ball as much on the way down. Now with the different address position, with the shaft lean and the ball in the middle and more weight left, when we move laterally 4 to 6 inches and through the wall here, for a lot of people, they're able to get more shaft lean and they're able to hit the ball more on the way down. Now, having said that, we still have to have a look at the averages. Through the internet at the moment, everyone trying to hit the ball on the way up, I mean, you've got to have some common sense about you. The thing about common sense is just it's not that common. And when we look at the world's best players, they're still averaging minus 1.3, so they're still hitting the ball on the way down. And with an iron shot, with a 7-iron, it's minus 4.3, and that's just a slither. It's hardly noticeable. And this is a really, really important thing to notice, because in our test, what we've been looking at is people are able to hit more fairways at times when hitting the ball slightly on the way down, rather than all trying to hang way back and hit it 6 degrees on the way up, hitting snap hooks and really struggling. It's just great to get in there and just get a gauge. Just leave the tee in the ground, and that's going to be enough. Guys, important part to notice is working with evidence-based instruction with facts. Reach out for me for an online lesson. You've got unlimited WhatsApp contact. I'm teaching people from all around the world. There's no way I won't improve you. All right, let's get further on into the video. So people, if you're interested in comparing your swing to the world's best and getting inside the averages of movement, drawing lines with angles, then have a look at Live View Golf. It simply is the best training aid on the market. It's absolutely incredible, helping so many of my customers. I use it personally. I'll pop in a discount code in the description box underneath. Don't miss out on this one, because it just is an absolute game changer. So guys, is this the best drill that there is? It's one of the best, okay? And it's something that I use when I teach. Regardless of what skill level you're at, this is an awesome drill. You can use 2 golf balls, you can use 2 tees, you can scratch a line in the grass. We're looking at low point control here. We call it golf, right? You got a golf club. You've got normally either a steel shaft or a graphite shaft. You've got a piece of steel here. You're swinging it around your body at high speeds. Where does it land? How good is your coordination? Can you land on the same spot every single time from the same direction? I mean, that's what it is, really. That's what we're trying to do. I mean, we've got lots of different technique. We can analyze things until we can't think anymore. Or we can get down and say, here's a drill. I'm going to do 10 swings, and where does it land? What I do with a lot of really good players is I take them in a bunker. I'll scratch a line, or I'll just put the shaft on the ground or on the sand, stand on it, make a line, say, all right guys, put that line in the middle of your stance. Let's do 10 swings. Where do they land? How good are you? It's fascinating to see with guys with a handicap of under 0 to guys with a handicap of 3 or 6, and you start to see it progressively get worse, the coordination landing in the right spot. Now, just for a second, when we use the right side of the brain, we're starting to visualize, we're starting to feel things a little bit more. This is what this drill is about. The left side of the brain, we're starting to analyze it a lot, or that's how we tend to analyze things from the left side of the brain. This drill here brings things into your swing without you even realizing it. And I love that. I love doing that with people and testing it. So if you start on this line here, what we see, unfortunately, with a lot of people is they can't touch or they can't hit the grass in front of this line. When we hit a golf ball, we hit the ball, that's the contact, but the lowest point's around 3 to 4 inches in front of the golf ball. Now, before the club starts to ascend, and you can get feedback from this position here, seeing exactly where you land. If you move off the ball too much, we tend to hit behind. If we lose our angles, we tend to hit behind. And if this area here of moving forwards and learning how to hit that line out in front, it's what helps us create angles. It's what helps us move through the ball. And we use this with a lot of great junior players, because when they're young, you're not using a lot of technique. And I've been able to change people's swings in a short period of time by using exercises like this. Guys, get between 2 points, get out there, pump out your practice swings until you can land on that line and in front every time. And I guarantee you it will improve your contact and your low point with your irons. So hi everyone, and welcome to World Class Golf Instruction, your swing analyst. I don't believe many people understand what this online training does, how effective that it is. It's simply the same as the YouTube videos, except with your swing on the screen. Your online swing analyst will go somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes, tailored drills and exercises, cutting edge information, a higher level of instruction. I'm doing it personally at a cheaper price and getting you on the path of playing better golf. Now we've got Zoom calls, we have Skype calls, we have WhatsApp contact. You can ask as many questions as you like. It's your golf, it's important. I'm very passionate about online lessons. I've been teaching tour pros, top amateurs, juniors, higher handicap players
everybody around the world, people that are taking these online swing analyst lessons and that are involved in World Class Golf and the Masterclass series have been improving their games between 4 and 11 shots on average, and that's the honest truth. People get stuck into it. It's such an effective way to train. People don't realize what this swing analyst actually does. So guys, get on the platform, jump on there. I'm really looking forward to improving you, answering those unanswered questions and getting you on the path to playing your best golf.